Hello everybody and welcome back to another Revit tutorial. We're going to be looking at how to model reinforcements in a concrete solid slab. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and create a new project. I'm going to be picking a specific project from the Revit folder. That's going to be the structural analysis default GBRENU template. I'll click OK to start and create a new project. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm on level 2. And then I'm going to go to the structures tab. And I'm going to click on grid. Let's create a grid in one of the directions. I'll rename this grid here to X1. I'm going to click on pick axis and just going to go ahead and give it an offset of 3000. I'll offset it to the right and then I have X2. Offset again X3. Offset again X4. Click on modify to exit the tool. And I'll just change the scale here to 1 to 50 to make things a little bit easier to view. Now I'll go ahead and draw grid lines in the other direction. I'll click on grid again. I'll click here, move in this direction, and I'll rename this here to Y1. Then I'm going to click on pick lines again. I'll offset by 3000 or let's say 35 instead. Click here, offset upwards. Then I'll change this here to 45. Offset upwards. I'll click on modify. I want to drag these grid lines up a bit to make more room for the next one I'll create, which is Y4. I'll right click on select similar or create similar rather. Then click on pick lines again and then offset by 35. There we go. Then click on modify. Alright. I'll make a selection over my grid lines and I'll recenter it in the project just to have a very neat feel. There we go. Now, let's go ahead and place grid line references. Alright, so I'm just going to extend the 3D snap points for the grid lines. I'll come to the Annotate tab and I'll pick an align dimension. I'll dimension between the grid lines so we can see the spacing between each of them. And I'll do that in the other direction as well. There we go. And the full span as well. Great. Click on modify. Now we can see the references between the grid lines in both directions. Now, let's go ahead and place the physical elements. On the Structures tab, I'll click on Column. I'll switch to a concrete rectangular column type, let's say 300 by 450. I want to set it to go to a depth of level 1. Alright. And I'm going to go ahead and place it at this intersection. To do it quickly, I'll click on Add Grid for multiple columns, and I'll make a selection of all the grids. And you can see, if I click on Finish, they've been placed. Alright. Now let's place the beams. I'll click on beams. I'll also switch as well to concrete beam type. 300 by 600 is fine. And I'll place it along the y-axis. So those are going to be long continuous beams between the columns, which are going to be the supports. And I'll place beams in the other directions across the y or rather x-axis. Alright, great. So we should have a total of 8 beams. There we go. Alright, let's go ahead and continue. I'm going to go over here and create a default 3D view. And in this view here, you can see we have levels. So I'm just going to right click, hide in view by category to keep it clean. I'll do the same thing as well for the grid lines. I'll change the visual style here to hidden line so we can see the elements properly. And now we want to change the material. I'll select the column here and I'm going to change from concrete casting to gray rather. I'll open the material browser. And I'm going to search for a material that we can use. So I'll type here C25. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and expand material libraries. And I'm going to import one that's not currently inside the projects file. I'm just going to expand this a bit. All right. And just make some more room so you can see the name of the file better. There we go. So concrete C2530. I'll add it to the document and I'll click OK. All right, great. I'm also going to do the same thing as well for the beams. Since that material is in the project, I can just open the material browser and I can search for it. That is C2530, click OK, and I can see the material has been applied to that beam. Alright, click on the column, select all instances in the entire project, and I'll apply that material to all the columns at once. I'll do the same thing as well to the beams, right click, entire project, then I'll just go ahead and apply the material to that as well. There we go. Now let's go ahead and model the floor. So I'm going to come to the structures tab. I'll click on floor And I'm going to create a new floor type. Click on edit type here. I'll duplicate this type. That's the generic 300. Change this here to 200 mm. And I'll go ahead and click OK. I'll come to the edits here and I'm going to change the thickness here to 200 as well. Then I'm going to go ahead and load the material by clicking on that 3 dot icon from there. Select that material. There we go. Click OK and OK. Great. Once we've done that, just confirm the material is correct. And then we're going to go ahead and model our floor. Using the boundary line, I'm just going to go ahead and select the rectangle draw tool. I'm just going to click at the corner. There we go. And I'm going to draw the boundary for which our slab will be placed. Great. Click on modify and I can just click on the lines and then just drag them to the edges. There we go. Click on this line as well, drag it to the edge. And there we go. We have our slab. All right. There we go. Just going to drag this one out a bit. We're going to create a cantilevered region. So just drag it out by reference of 900 from the last grid line or 1000. All right, great. All right, good. Let's change it here to, let's say 1000 just in case. Okay, good. All right, once we're done, we're just going to go and make sure that structural is turned on. And we'll go ahead and click on finish and our structural floor has been created. You can see we have a span arrow as well to indicate the position of the major reinforcements. We can just delete it for now. We're going to go ahead and create sections. Click on the section tool over here, switch to cross section type, and I'll make a section along the y-axis where we have the y grid lines. Now drag the far clip offset back a bit. I'll do the same thing as well by creating a section in the other direction. Click on a section tool. Now create a section along the x-axis, or rather where we have the x grid lines. Now drag the far clip offset back a bit. There we go. All right, great. So let's go ahead and open up the sections. The first section here, if I double click on the section head, it takes me to the view, which is section 1, and we can see the continuous slab. And we have here section 2, which is the second one. If I double click, we can see we have the continuous slab in the other direction. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and add gaps in this section. All right, so I'll just click on the section and in the middle, you see the option to add a gap and then just drag the annotation ends back a bit. All right, so just keep the slab region neat. There we go. All right, great. Good. All right, so once we've done that, we're just going to go ahead and add a shaft, and that's going to be where we expect our stairway to be. I'm going to set this base offset to be at least 200 minus 200, which is the depth of the slab, or I'll just add 250 just to make sure it cuts through. Top constraints level 2. There we go. And I'll click on rectangle, and I'm going to make a rectangular opening in the slab. I'm just going to go and stop around here. Click on modify. I'll click on this line and then I'll give it a value of 3300. There we go. I'll click on symbolic line to show that there's an opening there. I'll switch here to hidden lines and I'll draw 2 lines in this direction, like this and like this. Great. Once I'm done, I'll click on modify and finish, and we've added our shaft through the slab. If I double click, we can see that there's an opening through the slab. There we go. And likewise as well, if I go to the other section, you can see there is also an opening as well through that slab. In the 3D view, it's also represented here as well by a shaft opening category element. Great. Now we're going to go ahead and switch the join order of the slab and beam. As you can see, the slab is cutting through the beams. If I go to the 3D view as well and I click on the slab, you can see it cuts through the beams. I'm going to come to the modify tab, and on the modify tab, I'll click on the drop down for join and click on switch join order. Click on multiple switch, select the slab, and I'll make a selection over all the elements inside the project. And now we can see that the beams are cutting through the slab instead. All right, if I come to the level 2, you can see the same thing as well. Now we're going to go ahead and set cover to the slab. I'll select the slab first, and under the structural parts of the properties, I'm going to set the cover for top face. Click on the drop down, I'll select the one that is 25 mm. For the bottom face, 25 mm, and other faces as well, 25 mm. Great, and that will be what will be used for the constraints for reinforcements. If you don't have any cover of that size, you can come to the structures tab, click on cover, click on this 3 dot icon to open Rebar cover settings, and we can go ahead and add a new cover by clicking on add. You can give it a name. I'll put here 25 mm cover, and then I'll go ahead and put in the cover of 25. If I click OK, I can just go ahead and click on modify. I'll select the slab again, and if we click on the drop down for Rebar top face, and if we scroll, okay, it should be on the top. Okay, we see we have the new cover like that. There we go. All right, now let's go ahead and change the cover for the beams as well. It's important because it affects our modeling. All right, click select all instances entire project, and for those beams I'm just going to scroll down for structural, and I'll set the top face to 25 mm. I'll set the bottom face to 25 mm as well, and the other faces as well to 25 mm. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and open up a section. That's a section 1, and I'm going to click on the floor like that. I'll click on Rebar, and you get this warning. Just click OK because you are modeling reinforcement for the first time. You have the Rebar shape browser. If it doesn't appear, you can just click on this button here to load it. I'll scroll up and I'll select this straight reinforcements, and or rather, let's go ahead and start with this shape, that shape 41. All right, and I'll click on current work plane and parallel to work plane. That's what I want, and I'll just move over to the slab, change the reinforcement. Let's use H10 for this example. I'll go over here and click to place my reinforcements. I'll click on modify. I'll select that reinforcement, and I'll just click on the grid points to drag it towards the beam face. I'll do the same thing in the other direction as well. Great. I'll come to the manage tab here, and I'm going to set a parameter, a project parameter. I'll click on new, and I'll call this here Rebar layer. Set it as instance, data type here, text, and I'll group it under identity data. For the category, I'm going to search here for structural rebar, and then I'll just click OK. Rebar layer is there, click OK. I'll select that reinforcement, and if I scroll down under identity data, you can see the new Rebar layer. I'll set this here to be my B1 layer, and then click on apply. Great. All right, let's go ahead and manipulate the reinforcements. I'll select it here, and I'll change the layout rule from single to maximum spacing at spacing of 200. There we go. I'll come to the level 2 plan view. All right, and you can see it's not visible here because of the visibility states. While it's being selected, I'll come to properties, and under visibility states, I'll click on edit, and then I'll turn on to view unobscured. There we go. If I click on modify, we can now see the reinforcements on the plan view. Back in this section here, we have the reinforcements. We're going to go ahead and do something else. We'll select the slab again, and then we're going to go ahead and place reinforcements in the other direction. Let's use the straight bar. In this case here, we're going to change the placement orientation to parallel to cover, and we can see now that's the right orientation. We'll change the layout as well to maximum spacing. We'll also use 200 mm spacing as well. I'll place the reinforcements close to the bottom, so this will be our second layer above the first layer, which is going to be our B2. If I select it like this, I'll just scroll all the way down, and then I'll set the rebar layer to B2. There we go. All right, great. All right, just use the arrow key to nudge it down a bit. Okay. All right, if I come to level 2, we can see it's not visible. The same way as well, we'll just scroll up in the properties, set the visibility state here to view unobscured, then click OK. Great. Let's look at how we can adjust reinforcements. Let's go into section 1. And over here, let's say you have strict rules for how your reinforcements are arranged. So in this case here, we can see the segment length. We have A here, which is about 800. If I change it, that's 600. And in the properties, if I scroll down, you can see it's also reflected there as well. I'm going to go ahead and add a dimension. Just going to come here, add an align dimension. So we have a span of 3 meters. I'll come to the structures tab, then draw 2 reference planes here and here. All right, good. Now I'll select that dimension, edit the witness line, and then add 2 other references as well to the reference planes. And I'm going to go ahead and adjust the spacing. So I'll just come here and I'll put in 600. I'll select this and I'll put in here 600. There we go. All right, good. Now I can go ahead and align the edge of that reinforcement. So I'll come to the modify tab. I'll click on the align tool. I'll use the reference of this reference plane here. And I'll move to my reinforcement and make sure it shows start of bar. That's the segment I want, and it's aligned. There we go. We can see that the A segment is 725. In the same way, I can come to the E segments and put 725 here as well. Well, that's one way to do it. Another way you can do it is that you can select the reinforcements, click on edit sketch, and then you can manually adjust the segments to the reference that you want. So in this case, I'll just drag it here. And when I'm done, I'll just go ahead and finish editing the bar, and you can see it's being updated as well. Let's go ahead and add the second layer of reinforcement to the top over here. So I'll select this one as reference, and I'll just use the copy tool here. I'll just click on this endpoint here and then copy to this point. All right. I'll select this reinforcement here, and I'm going to go ahead and change the rebar layer. Before I forget, I'll change it to T2. There we go. And I'll go to the end, and we can see we have two grip points. So the grip points at the end, just want to click and drag it all the way to this point. Great. We need another one at the other edge, so I'm just going to come here and copy from this reference, and then I'll go ahead and place one around here. All right, just want to make sure it's aligned. It's not really necessary, just kind of satisfies my eye. Okay, great. Good, so it's now aligned, and that is also T2 layer as well. All right, now let's go back to the plan view. So I'm just going to select this reinforcement here. I'll go to level 2. And over here, you can see this is where it starts and ends. So we want it to extend to the other slab. That's a continuous slab. So I'm going to drag this part up a bit. The reason why is because we have a segment that anchors on both ends. So we're just going to go ahead and copy another one downwards like this. Click on modify. Now click on this and drag the grip points all the way back into this panel. There we go. Great. And just drag it up a bit. There we go. Good. All right. So I'm just going to copy this section, then move another one here just for that particular slab region. And I'll just drag the far clip offsets back a bit. Okay, and I'm going to open up that section. That's going to be our section 3. And here we can see we need this reinforcement not to lap like that. So I'm just going to delete this bar segments, and then click on finish. There we go. This is exactly what we need. Let's go ahead and mirror the reinforcements from here to the other side since it's a similar panel. I'll select one of the reinforcement sets. I'll right click on it, and I'll click on the option select all rebar in hosts. Alright, we see we have 5 sets, and when we do that, I'll come to the modify structural rebar, and then I'll click on mirror draw axis. And I'll click on copy to make sure that I will make a copy of it, and I'll find any midpoint along the middle of the building or structure. I'll click here as a reference, then I'll move up or down, then click again to mirror along the axis. There we go. So if I open up section 1 again, we can see we have reinforcement here and reinforcements here as well. Alright, let's go ahead and look at how we can add other reinforcements. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this section all the way to the top in this region where we have in place reinforcements. I'll go ahead and open it up, and that is our section 4. Alright, great. I'll come back here into level 2. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go ahead and borrow this reinforcement. So I'll select this one here, click on copy with reference to Y3 grid line. Then I'll paste one here, modify, select this, and I'll just drag the grips all the way to this point. There we go, to fit into the panel. Great. If I go ahead and open it up, we can see the reinforcements. We want it to be continuous, so we want it to rather be discontinuous here. So I'm going to edit, remove that segment here, click on finish. There we go. All right, great. So we have this bar here, and that's going to be our B1 layer. And then I'm just going to go over here and copy this section. Just go ahead and place this one here. There we go. And just going to go ahead and open it up. So you see, this is going to be our section 5. Great. Section 5, I'll come back here into level 2. I'm going to borrow this reinforcement here. Click on copy, select this space points, paste one here. There we go, click on modify, and then I'll select it here, and I'll drag the grip points to end at this panel over here. Great, good. All right, so just going to go ahead and open it up. We can see that will be our B2 layer. You can see how it's referenced here. Great, that's the reinforcements there. All right, if I go to section 5, we can see the reinforcements here as well. That's it. All right, we have another one here. If I go to section 2, okay, this is the other one. Okay, this is what I wanted to select, this one here, right? And I'll just go ahead and open up that section again, and we want to go ahead and anchor it. All right, good. So select our reinforcements, and just going to go ahead and add the dimension first so we can see where we can reference it from. I'll come to the structures tab, click on reference plane, add one reference plane here, add another reference plane here. I'll select that dimension line, edit witness line, click here, there we go. And I'll click on this, I'll put here 900, okay, 600 is fine, great. Then I'll select this reinforcement, edit sketch, I'll select a line, add the segment here, one going here to the top of the cover, then I'll end it over here. There we go, press escape, and I'll click on finish. Great. Alright, good. So this is going to be our B2 layer here. Alright, so I'm going to as well also add other reinforcements in the other segments. So I'll select this one here, I'll click on copy, select this point here, then I'll go ahead and paste one in this direction, and that's going to be our T1 layer. So I'll select it, and I just want to nudge it up a bit, so I'll just click and drag it. Alright, make sure it doesn't go past the what they call it, the reference plane. There we go. So place it there, and I'm just going to go ahead and reference exactly where I want it to be. So I'll just go ahead and select this, go ahead and mirror it to the other side, draw axis, click here, there we go. Good. So I'll click here, edit, then go ahead and reference this. There we go. So 1 to here. So we want that T reinforcement, that's the top reinforcement here, to end at that reference plane. Alright, so just going to drag it back here. There we go. Great, that's fine. And the other one at this end here, just going to drag it, just want to make sure it's as accurate as possible. There we go. And then I'm going to click on finish. Great. So that's going to be our T1 reinforcement. Alright, so go to level 2. We can see here where it's spanning. That's going to be across the two panels. So it's going to be our support reinforcements across the slab. Alright, so just come back here into section 5. I'll just scroll down here, and I'm going to make sure I identify the rebar layer as T1. So just going to type here T1 and then click on apply. Great. Alright, so we would also as well need to make sure this is B2. Okay, that's B2, that's correct. So I'll select this one here. That's B1. Good. Just want to confirm if everything has been set correctly. Great. And now let's go ahead and add in the other direction. So we need top reinforcements in this direction as well. Alright, so I'll select this one here. That's the reference plane. So just go ahead and add some dimensions first for reference. There we go. Alright, so I'm just going to click on this reference plane. I'll change this here to 1, 2. Alright, good. 1, 2 maybe too much. Let's say 900. Alright, for this segment, that's fine. I'll select the reference plane, just go ahead and mirror to the other direction like such. Click on the dimension, then edit the witness line, then add it here. Great. Alright, good. So let's go ahead and use a reinforcement for this. So I'm just going to select this reinforcement here, and I'm just going to copy it as reference. We'll edit it, just modify afterwards, click on it, and I'm going to go ahead and drag it to fall just directly after the cover. There we go. I'll edit the sketch, remove these two segments, and then adjust the reinforcement to make sure that it hits the ends. So over here, just want to be as accurate as possible. Alright, great. So I'll do the same thing in the other direction as well. There we go. Great. Good. Alright, so once that's been done, just go ahead and click on finish, and then we have the reinforcements placed exactly where it needs to be placed. Just use the arrow keys to nudge it up a bit. And I'll set the rebar layer here to T1 as well. Awesome. Great. Okay, we're making good progress. Let's go back here into level 2. We can see exactly where that reinforcement is meant to be. That is the support reinforcements between those two panels. Alright, good. Just going to open up this section again, and we also need the top 2 layer. So I'll select this layer here, and I'll just go ahead and click on copy. Everything is all about modifying, by the way. So I'll just click on this and paste this here. I'll select this, and I'll just go ahead and drag the end here up to this point. There we go. And as you can see, it has other segments when it's meant to be a straight bar. We can see this is a shape 21 when it's meant to be a straight bar, which is 0, 0. So we're going to go into a section where we should be able to see it. So let's go ahead and see how we can remove these extra segments. I'll open up this section here. So even though we can't see it, as long as it's selected, we can go ahead and edit the sketch and we can see the segments. So we just go ahead and delete the segments we don't need, and then we click on finish. There we go. So you don't necessarily have to create a section every single time you want to modify reinforcements. All right, good. I'm going to set this here to T2 layer. That's top 2, directly below the top 1. All right, good. So in level 2, that has been set. That's where it's going to be. Let's go ahead and place other T2 reinforcements. I'll go ahead and open up section 4. Select this reinforcement here, click on copy, and then I'm going to select this endpoint as the base point, and then I'll click here and just modify to exit. I'll click on the grid points, then drag it all the way to the back here. There we go. And that's a straight reinforcement. Just want to confirm, and the T2 layer. All right, great. So we can see this is the region where it's going to be. All right, so let's go ahead and place in that direction. So just going to go ahead and open up this section. That should be our section 5. Great. We'll select this reinforcement as a reference. Select that here, and just going to go ahead and copy. So just go ahead and click on copy here. There we go. Then click on this point. Then just go ahead and paste it here. Just nudge it up a bit with my arrow key. There we go. And here, just going to change the layer to a T2 reinforcement. Click on apply. There we go. And just going to drag the ends back all the way to this point. Great. All right, good. So we're just going to come to level 2. We can see that's not a straight bar. So we're just going to go ahead and open up a section along which is aligned with. And you can see it's still selected. It's not showing, but if I click on it, this sketch, I can see the segments, delete the ones I don't need, and then click on finish. Back in level 2, we can now see it's a straight bar. All right, great. So that's T2. Just want to confirm. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and continue. We're going to go ahead and mirror this reinforcement into these other panels. And I'm just going to open up section 4 we have here. I'll select the rebar sets like this, and we have 5 of them in the sets. And just going to go ahead and click on the mirror draw axis. I'll make sure copy is turned on. I'll find the midpoint of the slab, click, and then we have it on the other side. There we go. So you can see we have the reinforcement there. All right. Now we need to place reinforcements in the center panel over here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go ahead and borrow this reinforcement. But let's check the span. So I'll just click to create a dimension. We have the 3 meter span here. 3 meter. All right. So it's 3 meter or trout. All right, great. I'll just go ahead and select this set here, and then I'll select this. We'll probably modify it afterwards, but I'll just copy them as references. So copy, then go ahead and paste it here. There we go. Click on modify to exit. Then I'll select this particular segment, and then I'll click on edit sketch, and I'll remove these 2 lines from here to make it a straight bar. There we go. Great. Good. All right. So we need to place, or rather adjust the T2 reinforcements to enter the other span. So I'll select this, and I'll grab the rebar handle, just drag it all the way to the other support side. There we go. And I'll do the same thing as well for the other side. Just click and drag to this point. There we go. Just going to make sure stop here. Great. Good. All right. So we've been able to adjust the reinforcements for this span. All right. Let's go ahead and make some other adjustments. I'm going to go ahead and open up the section through which we see this reinforcement. And we need it to also anchor at this side as well, since we have its ending at the support. All right. So we have this segment here, and we're going to go ahead and edit the sketch for this bar. So I'll click here on edits. There we go. And then I'll go ahead and make selection of the segments, and I'll mirror, and I'll draw axis with reference to the middle of the line. There we go. Just click and draw downwards. Great. All right. Once that's done, I'll just go ahead and click on finish. All right. Good. Coming back here into the plan view, we also need to as well put the T2 reinforcements. That's along that region. So I'm just going to go ahead and open up this section. All right, great. And we can see we don't have T2 reinforcement here. So I'll just go ahead and select this one here. I'll go to copy, and then I'll copy from this reference point, and I'll come all the way here and paste it. Great, good. Click on modify, and I'll just go ahead and select the reinforcement, and I'll drag it out all the way to the other point. There we go. Right, good. Just going to scroll down. Okay, great. T2. All right. So we have that T2 there. All right, good. And I'm just going to go ahead and select it. So we also need it in that side as well. So I'll select the bar segments. Just go ahead and open it up. So we have the bar segment here. Just going to select it. And we need it on the other side as well. So just going to go ahead and mirror. So just click mirror, draw axis, just go ahead and pick the middle of the slab. There we go, click. Then I'll move upwards, then go ahead and place it in that region as well. Great, good. All right, let's go ahead and place these two reinforcements in the other panels, here and here. So I'll select this reinforcement, I'll click on copy, and I'll paste one here, and I'll paste one here. All right. We need to place one here as well. So I'll just select this reinforcement, I'll click on copy, click here, then click on modify, select this reinforcement, then I'll drag it all the way to this point. Great. Alright, good. Now I want to mirror reinforcement to these three panels as well. So we're going to use a trick here. It's more or less, we'll just select the reinforcements here, and then we'll mirror it to that side. Before we do that, I'm just going to go ahead and create some sort of reference line. I'll come to the annotate tab, create detail line between Y3 and Y2. There we go. Just press escape or modify, and I'll make a selection of all the reinforcement to this point. Okay. I'll click on filter, I'll remove the columns and the beams. Click on apply, okay. And then I'll mirror with the draw axis tool. Then I'll click here, move all the way down. There we go. Okay, good. Now we have the reinforcement here. But we need to modify it because some parts would not be exactly as they look here. So we're going to modify it. Alright, let's go ahead and modify reinforcement to enter the cantilevered side. I'll open up section 1 or section 5 rather, and I'll select this reinforcement. I'll click on edit sketch, and I'll remove these two segments, make it a straight bar. There we go. Coming back here into level 2, we can see that's a straight bar now. And I'll just go ahead and remove the bars in this other segment. So I'll just delete them, and I'll copy the one I just modified. So I'll select this and copy here, paste one here, and paste another one here. All right, there we go. All right, now let's go ahead and place the cantilever reinforcements. I'm just going to select this bar here, and I'll go ahead and copy from this point here, and I'll paste it around here. All right, now I'll select that bar segment, and I'll go ahead and click on edit sketch. Okay, and I'll add two other segments. So I'll add one here at this point, click here, go downwards here, click, and then I'll come all the way to this point. There we go, press escape, and then I'll just go ahead and finish. All right, good. Just going to drag this extent all the way to the cover face. All right, good. All right, so now I'm going to reference how far the reinforcement is going to lap after the support side. So I'll just go ahead and create a dimension from here. All right, to that grid line, then I'll go ahead and reference the end of the bar. All right, now I want to make sure that it goes in at about 1,500. That's about 1.5 times the span of the cantilever. So that's about 1,005. All right, great. So that is correct. And I would adjust the T2 reinforcement as well. So I'll click on this, and then I'll drag it all the way to this point. There we go. All right, just want to make sure that's T2. All right, then this should be T1. Okay, great. All right, it also has as well B1 as well, but we'll just leave it as T1 for now. All right, good. All right, let's place the other reinforcement in the cantilever. I'll go ahead and select the slab here, and I'll click on Rebar. We're going to be using new reinforcement instead of copying. I'll select the straight bar, and I'll set this here to parallel to cover. And I'll just use the previous settings. I'll move over here to the edge face, and I'll place T2 reinforcement, or rather bottom 2 reinforcement here. I'll select the bar here and just drag it out a bit, and then just make sure it stops around here. All right, great. So I'm just going to scroll down, and since that's a new bar, we're going to set the layer here to be B2. Click apply. All right, good. So I'll select this T2 reinforcement, and we can as well just drag it all the way to this point. Great. All right, good. So just done that. All right. And if I come to level 2, we can see how it's been modified. So we have the B2 already there. Okay. So we just need to go ahead and copy the ones that we don't need. So just turn this here to show the visibility. All right. Then I'll go ahead and select this bar here, which is our T1. All right, our T1. And I'm just going to go ahead and click on copy. Click on this point, copy to this point, and I'll copy to this point. Great, there we go. All right, we also need to as well modify the T2. So just press tab till I can select the T2 reinforcements. There we go. All right, so that's T2. I'll copy here. And so I'll delete this one first. So let's just click and delete. That's the existing. Click here, delete this. All right. So I'll just press tab, circle and press tab till I find T2. And I'll go ahead and copy. Click here, and click here to paste it. There we go. All right. We're going to place reinforcements in the last panel region, which is this area here. It is discontinuous at some point. All right. There we go. So we're just going to go ahead and find the section. So in this section here, section 2, we're going to place reinforcements. I'll click on Rebar after selecting the slab and make sure it's on 0, 0 as it is. Make sure it's parallel to cover, or rather parallel to work plane, maximum spacing 200. And I'll go ahead and place the reinforcements here at the bottom. All right, and I'll place another reinforcement here at the top. Just click on modify when I'm done. I'll select this one here and I'm just going to drag it all the way to this point here. There we go, to stop around here, at least to cover for the T2 reinforcement. Alright, good. Now we're not going to anchor this since this is going to connect to some sort of stairway, so I'll just set this as T1 and I'll click on this as well, and I'll set this here as B1. Alright, great. Good. Alright. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a reference. So this is about 3.5 meters or 3,500 mm. And I'm just going to select this, rather go to the structures tab, click on reference plane because we want to be as accurate as possible. All right, and I'll select this dimension, this witness line, then reference it. And I'll select the reference plane and set this here to 900. There we go. All right, good. So I'm just going to select this bar here. And I'm going to click on edit sketch, select this, then place it all the way to this point, click on finish. All right, good. And then I'll select this bar segment here, which is for the T2, and I'll drag it all the way back to this point. There we go. All right, good. All right, so we also want it to as well extend to this point, so just click and then I'll drag it all the way to this point. There we go. That's going to be for the T2 reinforcement. All right, good. Okay, so we have the two bars. If I go to level 2, we can see exactly where they are placed. That's correct. All right, so I'll click on visibility states and then view unobscured, so we'll be able to see them in the plan view as well. All right, now we're going to go ahead and place the support reinforcement on the two sides. Just going to go ahead and open up that section. We have quite a lot of reinforcements here, so it may look a bit confusing, but we're going to be referencing these two reference planes. So I'll select this bar here and I'll just go ahead and click on copy. And then I'll just select this endpoint here and then move all the way to this reference plane. Click here and then I'll select the bar and then I'll just nudge it down a bit using my arrow key. There we go. There we go. Great. That's where we want it to be. All right. So I'll click on edit sketch. Just select this. Then I'll drag it all the way to this point. All right. Good. Click on finish. All right. Scroll down here and this should be our T1 reinforcements. I'll click on apply. All right, good. All right, just want to nudge it up a bit. Okay, there we go. And we also need one in the other direction. So I'll mirror draw axis, find this center, then we go ahead and mirror to the side. There we go. If I come back here into level 2, we can see we have that reinforcement which is here and which is here as well. So I'm just going to select and adjust it just to fall inside this panel here. There we go. Select this one as well, drag it, adjust it to this panel as well. All right, let's go ahead and place the T2 reinforcements in this region, just for the sake of, arranging and then just justifying where reinforcement should be. We're not going to be too detailed here. So I'll select this reinforcement. I'll go ahead and copy as a reference and I'll place it over here. There we go. I'll select this bar here and then I'll adjust it. I'll be using the reference plane as a guide on where it shouldn't fall. All right, so it should stop around here. And now adjust the bar, just drag it all the way. Okay, so we have a warning on that particular rebar set. All right, let's check. So the rebar is placed outside of its host. Close this. Let's select that bar here. I'll press tab and then select it. Go ahead and open up this section. That's section 3. All right, so the rebar is probably hosted inside the beam. So I'll click on pick new host and select the slab. And you can see the warning is gone. All right, good. So I'm just going to go ahead and mirror to this side as well. And you don't need to worry about the clashing reinforcements for now. We'll look at how to fix that later on. I'll go ahead and mirror to this side. There we go. Good. And here we have our reinforcements are now placed for the T2. Alright, so now we're done with the slab reinforcements. Let's go ahead and close inactive views to keep our Revit session clean. And you can see all the sections that we've created so far in the project browser in case you need to find them. Let's open up the 3D view. We're going to create a separate 3D view. I'll right click, I'll duplicate this view and I'll rename this. I'll right click on this and I'll click on rename and I'll call this here 3D Rebar. So this will be the view dedicated to seeing the reinforcements in the physical elements. I'll come to visibility graphics overrides and under model categories, I'm just going to click on all and then I'll click on transparency and I'll set this here to a value of, let's say 60. Yeah, 60 is okay. I'll apply and you can see all the reinforcements inside the physical elements. Then I'll search for Rebar. Then I'll clear the overrides for the transparency. I'll click on apply and okay. Now we have a dedicated view for seeing the reinforcements. I'll set this here to fine for the visual style so we can see the reinforcements much better. There we go. Alright, looking good. Alright, now on the last slab. Let's look at how we can create filters to see different rebar layers. So I'll come to visibility graphics, I'll come to filters. We're going to create some filters. Click on add over here and let's click on edit and new. Let's go ahead and create a new rule-based filter. I'll call this here T1 and I'll click on define rules. Okay. For the category, I'll search here for structural rebar. Just gonna scroll down to find structural rebar, then I'll check it. And the rule here is that the reinforcements rebar layer, that is the project parameter we just created, right, must be does not equal to rather. I'll set this here to T1 and there's a reason why we did that. I'll click on apply, okay, and I'll click OK. I'll select it and click OK. There we go. And now I'll just drag this to the side a bit, turn off the visibility and click on apply, and now we can only see the top one reinforcements. Alright, good. Now let's do the same thing as well for the other layers. I'll go ahead to edit or new. I'll come and select the T1 and I'll duplicate, select this, and I'll rename this here to B1. Click OK. I'll select B1 and I'll change this here to B1. Click on apply. Then I'll select B1 and I'll come and duplicate this, select this, rename, set this to B2 and I'll set this layer here to B2 and click apply, and we're missing one more. Okay, great. So T2, duplicate, select this, rename, and I'll call this here T2. Alright, great. That's it. Set this here to T2, click on apply and OK. Now I'll click on add and I'll select the filters that we have been added. I'll hold on Control key, select them and click OK. Great. Now if you want to see any of the layer, all you have to do is turn off the visibility, click on apply, and we can see we have the B1 layers. Then I'll come here, turn off B2, we can see the B2 layers, and turn off this, we can see the T2 layers. Alright, great. Making it easier for us to interrogate our 3D rebar view. We can also move it up as well to arrange the layers. Alright. And then if I click OK, we are done. And then in the plan view as well, we can also do the same thing. If I come to filters, I can go ahead and add all of them. B1, B2, T1, T2, click OK. And this could be very useful as well if you are detailing. Alright, you can see we have the T1 reinforcements. And then we have as well the B2 reinforcements. Let's see how it's placed. Alright, good. And that's how you model reinforcements in a solid slab in Revit. In the next video in this series, we'll look at how to detail slab reinforcements on the plan and section, and we'll look at how to create bar bending schedules in a later video. Stay tuned, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.